Howdy everyone. With this video, things are going to be a little different. This here is the first ever collaboration between prolific pony lovers Hawk Nightwing and myself, Addy Lovestar. We'll both give our own thoughts on the newest episode of Tell Your Tale, with Hawk taking his turn first. You can navigate between our takes using the time codes provided. And you might be wondering, how did this happen? What is going on? Aren't your two communities completely polarized? Well, to put it in My Little Pony's own words, you can't make a rainbow without all the colors, and you can't make a friendship without one another. 'Cause we're brighter together, each leaving our mark, so beautifully different, all lighting the dark. Without further ado, enjoy the video.
Hello everybody, my name is Hawk Nightwing, the most unapologetic defender G5 you'll ever meet, and like Addy said in the intro, we are officially collaborating together on this episode review. Man, what a fitting one to do it, honestly. Season 2 of Tell Your Tale just keeps delivering hit after hit, and today, we have what can be described as yet another redemption episode for a character once treated unfairly by the writing team. I know you all are curious to see what I think of it, so without further ado, let's get right into the show. No intro this time because Addy already did one. This is my review of Tell Your Tale Season 2 Episode 13, P plus P equals BFFs. So the plot of the episode is pretty straightforward. Following up on their blocky-walkies, ponies are flocking to the board trial and getting a ton of magical friendship bracelets, which each grow charms every time you do something special with a friend. Long story short, Posey didn't come with one so her bracelet fails, but Pip reminds her of the importance of spending time with friends, and the two spend the rest of the day together. The episode ends with them both jumping in the water and having the time of their lives. So, what do I think of this episode? Well, right off the bat, hallelujah! The Posey abuse era of Tell Your Tale is officially over, and I couldn't be happier. Seriously, this is an episode that treats her like an actual character, not as a walking gag or background cameo. This time, the staff really put in the effort to make us feel for Posey, convey a message about how important friends are to making your experiences meaningful. What I really loved was how we got this year in a more vulnerable position this time, where she feels insecure about herself upon seeing the other ponies spending precious time together, whereas she's all alone. It's a neat visual contrast that gives little hints as to why her bracelet isn't working the way she thinks it should. No matter how much she tries to move on with her day, something just doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong. And she can't put her hoof on it. She keeps failing to get the bracelet to work all by herself, whereas others have no problem with it. And you really get to see this tear away at her internally, even as she tries to put these feelings off to the side. There's one point where she sees Jazz and Rocky's bracelets work, and you see tears come to her eyes, which really got to me emotionally. It's these little flashes of doubt throughout that really told me on how there's more to how she views everything than initially meets the eye. She may come off like she doesn't care, but that couldn't be further from the truth. All she really needed was a true friend to show her the way. It's a really great message for kids to learn, in that, well, yeah, you can do all these fun activities by yourself, but what really makes it meaningful is when you have others to share that excitement with, those who can laugh alongside you, make you feel complete. And that's the lesson Pip teaches her later on when she's sitting on the docks. I also want to point out just how genuinely empathetic Pip is throughout the whole scene. This is a side to her character that I adore seeing. She wastes no time giving Posey advice and offering to spend a day with her, even when she doesn't have to, and I just found that so sweet. They both work off each other extremely well, and you're sold on their chemistry together. The Bestie's Forever montage later on was very moving to me, as you really see Posey light up in a way she hasn't before. You just see her have so much fun and just have a great time with her new best friend. And the ending was just so heartfelt too, as Pip jumps in to save the bracelet, then Posey jumps in and they all have a good laugh about it. It's the perfect way to end the episode and drives the whole message of friendship home. I love just how wholesome it was. What can I say except this is an episode that treats Posey with just so much respect. It feels like there was a lot of care put into crafting a story that does her so right, and I have nothing but praise for really making me feel for her in a way I never did before. The pacing was on point, it had a ton of heart, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to doing characters justice. It's not instance it's a season where I don't really have any complaints, and I call it a massive win for the show. But of course, I'd like to hear what you think, Addy. Take it away.
Sounds like it's my turn at the wheel, and honestly, Hawk, I definitely agree with the broad strokes of your analysis. It's good to see Posey done justice, and yeah, they do treat her like a proper member of the cast, but I still have a couple problems with the episode. As you said, it does its best to make Posey feel sympathetic, but I think it goes a bit overboard. I like to think Posey was already an extremely sympathetic individual, and I wish the episode focused more on her previously established traits and prior interactions with the main cast. It unfortunately feels like they divorced Posey from her usual context this time. After all, she's not just another mayor, she's an artsy gardener who suffered quite a lot at the hooves of fate and fierce harassment alike. That said, both she and Pip are still perfectly in character here, so it's not like the show technically did something wrong, it just could have been far more interesting if they directly acknowledged the past. I did appreciate the board trot being put to good use. After Make Your Mark previously introduced and then forgot about that entire TV studio concept, I was worried the same thing would happen here. But no, they found an appropriate and charming place for this new plot element, even if I still have some grievances about the way it was, created. As to the actual events of the episode, they're quite heartwarming, but can feel rather forced. Again, nobody acts out of character, but too much of the narrative exists just for the audience's sake. A lot of the dialogue is completely unnatural, being built around exposition instead of actual conversational flow. The pop song also comes on too strong, with Pip and Posey loudly proclaiming themselves to be best friends, even though they just now started hanging out. I love the intentions here, but I believe a more subtle touch was warranted. However, it's not like the episode was completely without nuance. There's this wonderful scene where Posey gets stuck hyperfixating on her own loneliness, and Pip gently and wordlessly brings her attention back to the joy of companionship. It's only a few seconds long, but it packs so much character and symbolic weight. It really drives home the episode's theme that, well, friendship is what really matters above all else. Whether you're a prissy pink princess or a grumpy art-loving gardener, whether you're riding a Ferris wheel or making YouTube videos, we all deserve the delicate caress of caring company. Friends make every experience worth having, and we should never lose sight of that. Overall, I do think the episode would have been better if it was focused on more naturalistic dialogue and had a more subdued song, but it's undeniably got a good heart and strong moral character. It's wonderful to see Pip going out of her way to spread joy, and it's wonderful to see Posey finally treated with respect, even if the storytelling is a bit off-kilter. Also, as a brief personal aside, being unbiased about this episode was tough. Because of course I loved it. It nearly made me cry. It's got Best Pony Posey and Second Best Pony Pip learning the value of friendship, and it came along right as I was making friends with Hawk to boot. When I criticize something like this, it's not because I don't love it. I just want it to be the best it can be, regardless of my personal preferences. Anyway, that's my 2 bits. Back to you, Hawk. Take us on home.
And well, that's a wrap. You guys probably never expected this collab, but it's one I believe needed to happen. Addy and I may have had a complicated history in the past, but I want this to be a demonstration that friendship can come from the most unexpected of places, that we should open our minds to understanding others with different views. That talk we had on FanFiction a couple nights ago really was an eye-opener in regards to how differently we view pony media, and I felt like I was able to understand Addy's perspective in a way I never could before. We're both fans of Terry Till at the end of the day, and as fans, we're not always going to agree on everything. But that's okay. As long as you love G5 in some capacity, no matter what aspect of it, that's a good thing, and that should be celebrated. We should be encouraging diverse and intellectual takes in this generation. No matter what our personal feelings are, everyone's perspective matters. Throughout this whole process, I found myself thinking about how the story of this episode reflected my own experiences. How much better and more fulfilling it was working together with someone on something I normally do alone. It's in this way that I do sort of relate to Posey's situation, and I could think of no better video to collaborate on than this one. What can I say except, perhaps friendship still is magic after all. But what do y'all think of this episode? Was it good? Did you relate to it the same way I did? And do you want us to collaborate again? Feel free to let us know in the comments below. If you are new here and you want to see more, then feel free to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel to be updated on future content. This is Hawk Nightwing signing out. Hoof to heart.